Erin, you're amazing. When I turned around, I saw her with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry for leaving you alone, Nina. What are you saying? You did great. She silently shook her head, leaned into my back, and gently held me. My name is Erin Kent. I just turned 30 this year. I work as a surgeon at a metropolitan hospital. I'm still pretty new to the profession. When it comes to treatments, I feel there's still a lot I need to learn. So, along with treating my own patients, I take every chance I get to observe surgeries led by veteran doctors. Especially in surgery, experience speaks volumes. It's no exaggeration to say that what I learn from this hands-on experience will shape my future as a surgeon. It's demanding, but necessary if I want to become fully qualified soon. One day, as I was busy with this routine, an unexpected opportunity came my way. I was summoned by the head of surgery, Kevin, and stepped into his office. You wanted to see me? Yes. Do you have a moment now? Yes, how can I assist you? Kevin gestured for me to take a seat on the couch. Kevin looked at me intently and suddenly began to speak. You're still single, right? Yes, and I have no plans for marriage either. Good to know. Actually, there's something I wanted to ask you about. Huh? Was Kevin about to propose an arranged marriage? I'm nowhere near ready for that kind of thing. Once I get more settled in my work, maybe then I'll think about starting a family. Luckily or unluckily, I don't even have any prospects for romance right now. If it's an arranged marriage, I'll politely turn it down. Kevin, I'm still just a novice. Right now, I'm fully focused on learning the ropes at work. That's not true. You're doing great. I have faith in you and in what's ahead. What's ahead? What is Kevin trying to tell me? It doesn't sound like a marriage proposal after all. Is this about work? Is he about to assign me something? If it's work-related, I'll gladly take it on. And if he trusts me, that makes it even better. Is this about work? If so, I'll give it my all. What kind of work is it? I'm glad to hear that. Honestly, you're the only one I can ask. Everyone else has a family. You're the one who could move without much burden. Move? Am I being assigned to another hospital? That's fine with me. As long as there's a good environment to learn. Don't worry. I can work anywhere. So, which hospital would I be going to? Kevin paused, staying silent for a moment. Wait, what's going on? Why is he suddenly quiet? Is it somewhere he can't easily mention? Could it be a remote area? Sure, a quieter place might offer a better environment for focused study, but it could also mean limited exposure to cutting-edge medicine. Is there something tying you here, something you can't leave behind? No, not particularly. This is Tokyo, so I could always come back, right? Well, you might not be able to come back easily. Would you still be all right with that? Why not? I wondered. We're talking about Tokyo, aren't we? Kevin, it's fine. No need to worry. I'm up for it. Well, if you're that confident, then I'll entrust this to you. I'm happy to hear it. So, where am I going? Kevin paused briefly before telling me the place. Hachijo Island. What? It was the last place I expected. That single word from Kevin filled my mind. Oh, right, Hachijo Island is technically part of Tokyo. So that's where I'll be sent. There's a vacancy for a physician at Hachijo Hospital. They need a doctor from our hospital to work in collaboration. With someone stationed there, the locals could receive prompt care even in emergencies. You'd be greatly valued by the island residents, and it'd boost your confidence. It's not a bad deal, right? I understood the gist of what Kevin was saying, but I couldn't completely hide my shock. Once I go to the island, I really won't be able to come back to Tokyo. It would likely mean living on the island permanently. I was born and raised in Tokyo. I've fully settled into my current lifestyle here. Can I really manage to live on an island? Anxiety flooded my mind. Memories from childhood came rushing back. My closest friends and my parents, who were still alive and well. I wouldn't see them for a long time. At that moment, I couldn't give him an answer. Kevin, please give me some time. I'll definitely give you my decision soon. Alright, take your time. I have high hopes for you. I took the matter home with me and decided to give it serious thought. Moving there would mean a complete change in my life. Everything about my current lifestyle would disappear. It would mean being prepared to let go of everything connected to my life here. But even more than that, there was something else that worried me. The truth is, I'm quite shy. I can't easily open up to people I've just met. I just can't help but hold myself back. If I go to the island, I might not be able to connect with the locals. That would be fatal. I can't live on an island. Living on the island means I'd have to cooperate with the community, or life there just wouldn't work. The more I thought about it, the more impossible it felt. I want to keep learning medicine within my current life. That's what I felt would make me happy. Having reached this conclusion, I went to work the next day. Kevin called me in, and I went back to his office. I was confident in my decision and felt no regrets. So, did you think it over? Yes, and thank you for the opportunity, but... What? You're not going to take it? I'm sorry. I feel I'm still not capable enough. I can't meet your expectations. Are you feeling uncertain about something? Yes. To be honest, I'm shy and probably wouldn't fit in well there. So, it's a personality thing? Kevin lowered his gaze and stayed silent for a moment. It seemed like he was deep in thought. No matter what he said, I knew I wouldn't change my decision. I felt no need to search for other words. But his next words took me by surprise. That shy personality of yours won't work anywhere, island or not. Being a doctor means putting yourself in your patient's shoes. It's about getting them to open up. If you're turning this down for that reason, then maybe you should reconsider being a doctor altogether. That's what I think. I was speechless at his blunt words. It felt harsh. Kevin's expression had grown a bit stern. If you're serious about becoming a good doctor, you'll need to change that part of yourself. Can you do that? This opportunity is a chance to test that. What do you say? Give it a shot. I'd like to see you grow through this experience. You'd only be there for a few years, and it would be a great place to hone your skills. Are you saying that I could grow if I go to the island, Kevin? I'm not saying that's all there is to it. I'm just saying it's a valuable opportunity. Going to the island would mean putting aside your shyness. It's that kind of place. Think of this as a trial for yourself, one that will prepare you for future success as a doctor. Going to the island was a test of my commitment and loyalty as a doctor. I hesitated again. If I turned down this offer, would I lose Kevin's trust in the future? That's what it felt like. Even if it meant sacrificing my current life, should I carry Kevin's expectations with me? And right there, I reversed my decision. Kevin understood. I think you're absolutely right. I'll go to the island. Thank you for giving me such a valuable opportunity. Thank you. I'm grateful you've decided to take this on. I trust you. I approached you because I knew you could do it. I might come to regret changing my decision on the spot. But now, it's all or nothing. No one knows what the future holds. And so, the day arrived for my journey to the island. I told my parents I wouldn't be back for a while. On the boat, I watched the mainland slowly disappear. A new chapter of my life was about to begin. The island was farther away than I'd thought. It felt like I'd been on the boat for over 10 hours. When I finally stepped onto the island, a hospital staff member was there to greet me. After introductions, they took me straight to the hospital. From now on, this would be my home. I walked toward the hospital, taking in the unfamiliar scenery around me. As soon as I arrived, I was called into the director's office. They probably wanted to go over the details of my work here. When I stepped into the office, though, I was surprised to see Director Trevor looking apologetic. I had expected a warm welcome. Did he think I was unhappy to be here? So, I forced a smile, walked up to him, and greeted him cheerfully. I'm looking forward to working here. Thank you for having me. Yet, Trevor still wore a gloomy expression. Is something wrong? I couldn't help but ask. There was definitely something off about his demeanor. After a moment, Trevor finally began to speak, his voice heavy. It's true our hospital had a vacancy for a resident physician, but out of nowhere, Trevor started saying something strange. I had come here to fill that vacancy. But then he said something I couldn't believe. I'm sorry to ask this on such short notice, but would you consider going to Chichi Island? Wait, Chichi Island? I was taken aback by the sudden proposal. I had only accepted this assignment because it was on Hatchie Joe Island. Chichi Island is even farther from the mainland. Is this even happening? This isn't something you bring up right after I arrive on the island. What do you mean? Trevor looked uncomfortable as he started to explain. Actually, by the time you accepted the position, a local doctor agreed to take on the role here. If there was someone else available, why didn't you just ask them in the first place? Well, he had his own reasons and initially couldn't commit. As a local, he knows the residents well, and we wanted him here. But since you've already come, it turns out the clinic on Chichi Island is also in need of a physician. I'm sorry, but could I ask you to go there? Kevin from the main hospital has already approved it. I understood what Trevor was saying. Technically, I had only just arrived, not yet fully settled in. But to suddenly be sent from Hatchie Joe Island to Chichi Island, it was too much to process. When I thought about it, it felt unfair. My preferences hadn't been considered at all, and I couldn't accept this. It felt like I was being passed around, and I didn't like it. I'm sorry, but in that case, I'll return to the main hospital. No one told me about Chichi Island. I'll continue working in my original environment. Please, could you reconsider? The clinic really needs help. No, this is too much. Coming here already took commitment, and now you're asking me to go even farther, to Chichi Island. Didn't you come here with the understanding that you wouldn't be returning? Island doctors dedicate themselves to community medicine, often with the intent of staying for life. Don't you have that kind of spirit? If not, why did you pursue a position as an island doctor? That wasn't my reason for coming here. I was simply following the main hospital's directive. But then Trevor said something unbelievable. I was stunned. I'm sorry, but I've already sent word to the clinic on Chichi Island that you'll be coming. What? It was already decided that I'd be sent to Chichi Island. That's the situation. I apologize. I had no choice but to go to Chichi Island. There was nothing I could do. I had no choice but to accept it. It's such a tough situation. To get to Chichi Island, I had to go back to Tokyo and then head out from there. Once I arrived on the island, someone from the clinic came to pick me up. They welcomed me, but I couldn't manage to smile back. The director, Kyle, was a gentleman. He explained my future work responsibilities carefully. Everyone at the clinic was kind and welcoming. Feeling the warmth of their hospitality, I felt a bit relieved. My living quarters were prepared, though they were modest, and thus began my new life here. The clinic on Chichi Island also included a care facility for the elderly. Though I was a surgeon, I couldn't stick strictly to my specialty. That's just how it goes with island medicine. I felt a little sad about it, but I made up my mind. Maybe this is just fate taking me in a new direction. With the support of the locals, I began my new life here. The island has a small grocery store. There's a regular ferry service, so getting supplies isn't a problem. It's surprisingly convenient. However, there are numbered 24-hour convenience stores. Since I was used to late-night shopping, I had to be mindful of that. That day, I was out shopping for groceries. While holding some vegetables, I heard a voice behind me. "Oh, are you the new doctor?" I was startled by the sudden greeting but turned to see a kind-looking woman around my age. I'm shy by nature. So, with people I meet for the first time, words don't come easily. I nodded quietly, and she smiled. "Nice to meet you. It must be tough moving from the mainland all of a sudden, right? If there's anything you're unsure about, just ask me. I'd be happy to help." She spoke warmly, her smile open and friendly. I couldn't reply then, but I thought maybe I'd start a conversation next time we met. After all, I came to the island to overcome my shyness. As luck would have it, I ran into her again the next day. When I saw her, I took the initiative to say hello. "We meet again. Do you come to the store often?" She turned around, surprised at my sudden greeting. "Oh, you startled me. I didn't expect Dr. Kent to speak up first. Is there something you need help with? Just ask." "No, sorry about yesterday. You spoke to me, but I didn't say anything." "Oh, so you're just a quiet type, Dr. Kent." "I'm the chatty one, sorry about that." She laughed, completely unbothered. "I'm actually pretty shy. I have trouble talking with people." "Really? But once I feel comfortable, I can talk just fine. With you, I feel like I can open up." "Well, that makes me happy. In that case, let's chat as much as we want." I found her constant smile and cheerful personality charming. It felt like she might be someone who would support me here. I appreciated her presence more and more. We exchanged names formally this time and started calling each other by our first names. "Wait, Nina, are you single?" "Yes. I'm not exactly popular, you know." "That's hard to believe, you're quite charming, Nina." Dr. Kent, saying things like that. Don't expect anything in return for just flattering me. Spending time with her became a soothing escape from the unfamiliarity of my work here. She looked forward to seeing me too. Every time she smiled at me, I couldn't help but feel overjoyed. Eventually, she even shared her home address with me. After work, I would head straight to her house. Almost every evening, she prepared dinner for me. It became the highlight of my day. Nina, thank you so much. Honestly, I look forward to these dinners every day. I enjoy cooking for you, Dr. Kent. Seeing you happy makes me happy too. I owe you so much. I'll make it up to you one day, I promise. You're being too formal. Please don't take away my joy, Dr. Kent. Just keep coming over every evening, okay? I'll be waiting for you. She was truly happy to spend time with me, too. Eventually, we started dating. One day, as usual, I went to her place after work. But that evening, she didn't seem herself. Her usual smile was missing. Was she feeling unwell? I grew concerned and decided to check on her. Is something wrong? Ha! I was worried seeing her so distracted. Something happened, didn't it? No, not really. Something was definitely off. Her usual responses weren't like this. You don't have to hide it. Is there something you can't tell me? Aaron, I'm trying to handle it on my own. Handle it? Something was definitely up. I also noticed that she didn't call me Dr. Kent. It's okay. Please, tell me. After some persistence, she finally gave in and began to speak. Aaron, I talked to my parents. About what? I told them I wanted to marry someone. What? She had someone she wanted to marry? I couldn't hide my shock. Who? Someone from the island? She gave me a puzzled look. As if to say, what are you talking about? Silly. I meant you, Aaron. Wait, what? This was so sudden. Marriage? Just like that? Granted, it wasn't out of the question for us to consider it. But I wasn't prepared for this. I did want to be with her forever, though. I was overjoyed, yet, why did she seem so down about it? She continued, her voice tinged with sadness. There are rumors on the island. People are saying I'm an unmarried woman bringing a man into my life carelessly, and worse, that he's an outsider. I told them that I'm serious about you, and that we're considering marriage. But then, they only opposed it more. They asked if I was really going to marry someone from outside the island. This place is, well, it's insular. The people here highly value island relationships and tight bonds within the community, even between families. That's actually why I chose to live on my own. I expected some opposition, though. So, you brought up marriage with me for that reason? She nodded. They believe in slowly getting to know each other, connecting families, and building ties. I know that's not unique to the island, but here, it's especially important. They probably wouldn't accept you since you came here alone from the outside. But I'll keep trying because I want to be with you, Aaron. She looked at me with a sorrowful expression. So, she'd been thinking that deeply about it. Still, she seemed troubled. Actually, she said, hesitating, after that, a marriage proposal was brought up for me. It's from someone on the island. A proposal? Yes. My parents are probably pushing for it to avoid me marrying an outsider. So, I had a meeting with him recently. The guy liked me. He wants to start a relationship with marriage in mind. But I'm not interested at all. I already have you, Aaron. If it's not you, I don't want anyone else. I see, so that's what happened. I was suddenly overwhelmed with a deep sense of sadness. Have you seen him since then? No, not at all. He's tried to reach out, but I turned him down, saying I'm already in love with someone. But he's persistent. saying there's no point in being with someone who doesn't have my family's blessing. Just today, he called again, asking to meet soon. It's exhausting. She'd been struggling with this all on her own, keeping it hidden from me. I was glad she finally opened up. I truly felt that from the bottom of my heart. It felt like our hearts were aligned. Thank you for telling me. I want to marry you, Nina. I believe the time will come when our marriage is accepted. Really? How can you be so sure? I'm not. What matters is that we both keep believing in it. As long as we hold on to that, I'm certain our fate will open up before us. Let's trust in that. She nodded at my unfounded optimism. Yes, I'll keep trusting in you, Aaron. I'll keep turning him down. As long as you're by my side, I'll be all right. She smiled brightly at me. I couldn't help but feel a deep love for her. I have to do something for her. I have to give it my all for her sake. As summer arrived, the island prepared for its annual event. It was the Summer Festival. There are performances of dances such as South Seas Dance and Bond Dance. Live concerts and outdoor movie screenings are also held. The highlight of the event was the fireworks display. Both of us were eagerly looking forward to it. Nina wanted it to be just the two of us. A little date. I gladly accepted. On the day of the festival, she appeared before me in a dress. Her beauty left me speechless. Seeing me stunned, she spun around with a little pose. Aaron, how do I look in my dress? You look beautiful. I'm honestly blown away. You could wear that all the time, and I'd be thrilled. Oh, come on. I'm glad you like it. She smiled joyfully and linked her arm with mine. We wandered around the island together. But of course, we were most excited about the fireworks. At the summer festival, the fireworks display lights up the coastline, creating a romantic backdrop. It's the perfect setting for a date. She was as excited as I was to see the fireworks together. When we arrived at the venue, there was an unexpected crowd. Perhaps it was because of the holiday season, but there were more tourists than usual. Wait, there are so many people. Yes, this fireworks show is pretty famous. We get a lot of tourists around this time. So that was it. Even on Chichi Island, tourism brought in quite a crowd. That's when it happened. A man was approaching us. From his expression, I sensed something was off. I looked at her and saw her face tighten with apprehension. This must be Nathan, her arranged marriage partner. What are you doing here? And who's this guy? He asked bluntly, eyeing me suspiciously. She instinctively clung to my arm. This is my boyfriend. Boyfriend? Are you kidding? We had an arranged meeting, remember? But I love him. And I've been telling you I can't be with you. Yeah, like I'm just going to believe that. We're getting married. The man continued to press her aggressively. I'm sorry, but she's uncomfortable with this. We're in a relationship, so could you please let it go? And who the hell are you? Just some outsider doctor, right? Don't go stealing our women. She might be from the island, but she's her own person. And I love her, too. Enough with this nonsense. Her parents approve of me, and it's a problem if you're just interfering. Then, he grabbed her arm forcefully, trying to pull her away. I stepped between them. Hey, what are you doing? Can't you see she doesn't want this? Don't you think this is wrong? You have no right to tell me what's right, outsider. Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. She clung to my arm, resisting his attempts to take her. Suddenly, the sound of screeching brakes and a loud crash filled the air. Ah! Someone, help! Shortly after that, I heard a woman scream. I sensed that something was seriously wrong. An accident. Nina, stay here. I'll be right back. Leaving her behind, I ran toward the sound. Thick smoke was rising from a car, and several people were lying injured on the ground. Had a car plowed into the crowd? I didn't understand exactly what was happening. In any case, I had to help the person who had collapsed. I immediately called the clinic to relay the situation, directing them to prepare the necessary supplies. There were more injured people than I'd expected. I called out to event staff and bystanders to assist with the response. Within minutes, Kyle and several nurses arrived at the scene. One by one, I administered first aid to each patient. I conducted triage, and for those critically injured, I requested emergency air transport through the self-defense forces. The hospital they'd be transferred to was the one where I'd worked before. I called Kevin, the head of surgery, to brief him directly. They prepared to receive the patients. As the helicopter began to carry the injured away, we finally took a breath. Who knows how much time had passed? Then, it hit me, I suddenly remembered her. I'd rushed to the scene without thinking, but what happened to her after I left? Had she been taken away by him after all? Just as I was about to run off to look for her, I heard a woman's voice from behind me. Aaron, you were amazing. I turned around and saw her, tears welling up in her eyes. I'm sorry for leaving you, Nina. What are you talking about? You did a great job. She shook her head silently, then leaned into me and hugged me gently. I almost got taken away, but I stomped on his foot as hard as I could and followed you. She had protected herself. She was strong. I fell for her all over again. This was the kind of person she was, that's why I loved her. I looked at her, relieved and filled with admiration. Seeing her tear-streaked face, I felt the need to express what had built up inside me. Nina, what is it? The thought of losing you nearly broke me. If your parents want you to marry a local, then I'll stay on this island for good. Please, stay with me. I love you. Will you marry me? With even more tears in her eyes, she nodded. Yes. I'm so happy. As for the people injured in the accident, they were all locals. Fortunately, none of them lost their lives. My actions became the talk of the island. Many islanders crowded into the clinic. Along with words of appreciation, they brought me offerings of fresh produce and seafood. They were all overjoyed, I think. I was glad to finally feel accepted by them. Then I went to her parents' home to formally ask for her hand in marriage. Nervously, I pressed the intercom, and she greeted me at the door with a smile. Welcome, Aaron. When I was shown into the living room, her parents were seated side by side, smiling at me. We're glad you came. Thank you for always looking after Nina. Thank you for taking the time to see me. I actually have something I'd like to discuss with you. Before that, there's something I owe you an apology for. I had misunderstood you. I thought you were a man who might lead our unmarried daughter astray. But I've heard the reports. You care for your patients at the clinic, and you saved the injured at the recent fireworks accident. I'm just a doctor. I only did what I could. No need to be humble. A man like you, who looks after our Nina. Yes. I'm here to ask for your blessing to marry Nina. From that point on, things went just as Nina had predicted. Having heard the positive feedback from the islanders, her parents softened their stance and gave us their blessing. We celebrated our wedding on the island, surrounded by the community. We're in love. Now, and for always. I'm dedicating my life to Chichi Island. Though I once resented Kevin and Trevor for sending me here, that decision led me to her. It was fate. That's how I've come to see it. I'm happy. And that's the answer to everything. Nina, thank you for this happiness. I'll treasure you for the rest of my life. Yes, and I'll treasure you forever too. I wrapped my arms around her. I felt her warmth close to me.